What's up, everybody? Eric here, Driveline, world's okay steering wheel holder, and I am burnt out, man. Like, I've been on YouTube for like 4 years, so I think I've got a few videos about just reaching a point of just being absolutely burnt out. And I hit critical mass yesterday morning at a customer that was just, it's weird because I have a friend, Hopper, who had a Google review at this place, and he had a great experience at this place. My experience was the absolute opposite. Now, I've been on the road for a long time without home time. So the last time I was home, my son broke his leg. My son, who is like 2 years and 2 months old, I've been out on the road for an amount of time that his broken leg has healed and his cast or his splint thing is off, and he's running around having a great time. So, like, I've been on the road through that whole process, and it really got to me yesterday morning at this receiver that was just utter chaos. It was the most undisciplined, disorganized chaos I've ever seen. Maybe it was different back when Hopper left his review, but basically they just let every truck come in at 4:30 in the morning that has an appointment from upwards of 6, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, didn't matter. They just let every truck come into this receiver at 4:30, and the receiver opened at 5. It was a capstone facility, so I'm not exaggerating this. There were about 130 trucks that came into that facility between about 4:30 and 5:30 in the morning. And there was just nowhere for them all to be. So, and my appointment was for 6 a.m. By the time I got staged or into the staging area in this place and made it over to get in line for the window that opened up, there were 25 drivers in line in front of me. And from just hearing the conversation, most of those drivers had appointments after mine. But it didn't matter. It was basically first come, first serve, and so I watched probably the first 15 drivers get assigned doors, and then the rest of us we'll call you when we get a door. And it was just like, I saw two dudes damn near come to blows, and they were big dudes, man. Like, this was right in front of me. I mean, like 4 feet in front of me, in front of the capstone window, because one had just decided he didn't want to go park in the staging area. So he just parked his truck in front of other trucks and went and got in line. So these trucks that were getting assigned docks were just livid, and you get out of line, go move your truck. I don't give a F if you're gonna lose your spot. Like, who are you to think you could just park right in front of our trucks? Now we can't go to docks. Oh boy, man. I thought these two dudes were just gonna, one dude was like pulling his pants up and getting ready, So, and then of course it's capstone. So I don't want to mention who the customer is. Y'all know I don't. So someone asked me, why don't you name drop the customer? Because that would help the rest of us. These are our customers, man. I'm not going to talk shit about our customer. I'll talk shit about them, but I'm not going to name them. Now, actually, this receiver was not our customer. This receiver is a customer of our customer. But I'm not going to name drop and trash customers of our customers either. I just think it's very unprofessional to do so. So I'll just never do it. Believe me, I want to say, don't ever go to this place. The docks were tight. There were trucks right across from them. There were yard trucks running everywhere. There were day cabs running everywhere. It took forever for me to get into this dock, which was already a tough dock to get into. And I had a long nose on both sides. and they made you detach from the trailer, so those long noses were even further out. And it was just, by the time I got out of there, man, I was just over trucking. I was just like over it. And I'm sure a lot of you can relate to that, where you just reach a point where you're out on the road for a long time, and you reach this point where every little, medium, or big thing just really gets under your skin, you know. And I'm at that point. I am definitely at that point. So, and it's just, you know, just a lot of things. Like this trailer, I've had this damn trailer for a week and a half, I think about 4 loads, and it's got this residue, almost like a paint residue. It's white, but it's not like a thick paint, but it's this residue across the floor. No washout can get this off, but every customer argues with me about it not being clean. And I have a receipt, and I've had 2 out of 4 customers that I've had this trailer with have almost turned me away. Where it's like I have to get up in the trailer and wipe and try to show them it won't come off. I've got it, you know. So it's just little things like that where it's just like, man, 3 or 4 weeks ago, none of this would have bothered me at all, you know. And on top of that, now I got a comment from some guy on the last video. He's like, you crack me up. You're just always running these big money loads. And it's like, okay, I talk about those loads because they're remarkable to me. They're notable. I don't only run high dollar loads. In fact, it was $3,000 for just over 1,000 miles. It was a great load. Hated the receiver. Boy, I hated the receiver, but it was a great load. But like the week before that, I ran $1.40 on a paper load that weighed 44,000 pounds, had like $200 in tolls that weren't included in the line haul, and had to haul it through the mountains. Like rates have finally caught up to me. I know some drivers who swear that rates are great for them or still good for them. And I know a lot more drivers who've been telling me for 3 or 4 months that rates have been in the toilet for them. And it hasn't, I mean, I've run the crappy loads out of like the Northeast and stuff, but just haven't kind of across the board seen rates tank until the last 2 weeks. Last 2 weeks, my trucks have been running some freight that is, the rates are very questionable. Very, like I had a truck that ran a Mastronardi load. Mastronardi out of Detroit. Those used to be the cream of the crop, man. I wouldn't even really ever have to look at the load details of a Mastronardi load. And this load paid like $1.45 a mile. So, you know, it's definitely, I'm definitely seeing it. If you've been trying to convince me, and I've been feeling somewhat optimistic about the rates, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm seeing it and I'm feeling it. I'm in a state right now where there is zero reason that I should get $1.25 a mile load. Minus 10, 44,000 pounds, $1.25. I had to say no to that. I'm just not, no. I'm not in the Northeast. I'm not, and it didn't have a lot of deadhead either. So like that was the rate. I'm not going to do it. But I'm seeing a lot more of that. So, yeah, and you know, now I guess I would say on the positive, if I could, so I'm definitely feeling the rates dropping like a lot of you have. On the positive side, the loads are much more frequent. in the last 2 weeks, because y'all know I've been complaining the last few months about sitting and waiting a long time between loads. That's dramatically changed in the last 2 weeks. Now I'm getting loads picking up same day, later that night or something like that, like every load, and lots of pre-plans. My trucks are being pre-planned like very consistently. So that's good. So the frequency of the loads is picking up. The volume's either the volume's picking up or capacity is lowering. One of the two is happening. And so there's much less waiting, but that being fixed, happening at the same time as rates seem to be just going off a cliff right now, it doesn't solve the problem. It just shifts where the problem is. So I guess my point in saying all that is I hope that you guys don't think that just because I'm on a YouTube channel, that just because I have YouTube content, that I get nothing but great freight. That's not the case at all. It's just that the only time I find it notable or remarkable is when I'm on a killer load. If I'm on a complete dog shit load, I don't feel like that's notable, but they happen just as much as anybody else. I always see this stuff of, oh yeah, the YouTubers, like Prime just puts killer freight on them. No, we run just as many shit loads as everybody else. We get shit loads and we get great loads, and there's no consistency to any of it. So I just don't feel compelled to be like, talking about all the shit loads, and I don't really talk about the great loads that much either. It's just sometimes I comment on them, and then someone sees that, no, you're always saying you're on these great loads. No, I'm not actually always saying on them. It's just that I get one or two a week, and remark on that. But this rate thing is highly concerning, because I know there's cheap freight out there, but when it's customers that have been pretty consistently and reliably great paying loads, and we're seeing those tank the way they have, that's highly concerning to me. So, and also on this volume thing, maybe it's the case that the loads have just been more frequent and more pre-plans, shorter wait times, because 4th of July is coming up. Maybe it's just being built up to that. I hope not. I hope volumes don't just fall off right after the holiday, and then we're right back to waiting plus the crap rates. I don't know. There is not a whole lot of realm to be optimistic in trucking right now, in refrigerated freight, or really in anything. I've heard some bad things about some stuff happening in flatbed. I know dry van is pretty bad, but there's just not a lot of room to be optimistic. And when you're fighting with everything in you just to make your trucks profitable, and then you just kind of reach this critical mass of like, I'm just done and over with it, man. It makes it tough. Plus my inverter's giving me some troubles, and just all kinds of things. I got this truck and this inverter right before they started doing the upgraded inverters, which sucks. Because I use an air fryer. I use an air fryer on the truck, and the air fryer is fantastic. I mean, it actually makes a really good steak. It cooks a really good steak. So I've been eating on a truck for the last 6 weeks. I've eaten on a truck basically every single meal. But man, that air fryer, I can't have anything else running, nothing. I literally have to unplug stuff to run that air fryer. Now, I know I can idle the truck to run it, but I'm not going to idle the truck for 20 minutes to cook a steak. So I really I need to address that. Again, you just reach a point where like every little thing starts to get under your skin. And I reached that point yesterday morning, and it's not something I could sleep off. I tried to sleep it off. I talked to my fleet manager. I'm like, man, here's where I'm at. I I need to get out of here. Like I need to take a break, you know. And my fleet manager, he drove truck. I think he had a mini fleet. He drove for Landstar I think he drove for Landstar for like 10 years. And I think he drove for a total of 14 years or 15 years or something like that. So I would say he is very relatable. When you're just kind of going through it and all the pressures are coming on you, he gets it, you know. And I really appreciate that. This morning he was like, dude, I know exactly where you're at, you know. And so he's trying to come up with a solution for me. So anyway, I got another video that I'm making about Prime not selling, because some of y'all missed the point that I was trying to make. So I'll publish that here maybe in the next video or the video after. But I just want to get another update out there and just let y'all know that I'm not just going radio silent. I'm trying to keep the frequency up. I very much appreciate all the views and support. YouTube requires consistency, and it takes some work to be very consistent. If you fall off that horse, it's hard to catch back up and get YouTube, you know, treating your channel well again. And I've, you know, been working to get back there, and y'all have been very supportive on that. So thank you for that. Be safe, make good decisions, always drive, thrive. Talk to y'all soon.